What I used to do is, I don't really know, what did I used to do before? And then when I started doing it, I fell in love with it. Couldn't stop. Missed tests, was missing presentations and shit. Sports, played football, I wrestled, track. Went to college, and then as I was going through my career in powerlifting, I enjoyed being strong, but I also loved to perform because I was also minoring in dance in college. Graduated from Salisbury State University, so it's kind of like a natural marriage to the two, because with bodybuilding you be strong, you train hard, and I love weights, but then when you get an opportunity to be on stage in front of an audience, you get to perform as well, and that's how I fell in love with the sport of bodybuilding. And actually, oddly enough, I wasn't one of these guys that said I want to be the. Obviously, I wanted to win, but I wasn't one of the guys that got into it because I wanted to. Because I felt insecure or wanted to be muscular. I actually fell into it because I like lifting heavy and I like performing. And the two I tell all young bodybuilders is very simple: consistency, consistency, consistency. Because with me, I'd always do a show, eat whatever I wanted, get out of shape, do another show, eat whatever I wanted, bulk up as we used to call it. It's really just getting fat. And and then I would go back and forth early on in my career between a powerlifting meet, then a bodybuilding meet, then a powerlifting meet. And, I remember my coach, Dave Nettles, said to me one time, he said, you can't be a master in everything. You're either going to be a jack of all trades and a master of nothing, or you're going to pick something and really go after it. And so at that time, I kind of threw bodybuilding to the side and went 100% after powerlifting. That's when I was able to win the NCAAs twice and win 2 world titles, a couple national titles, make the world teams, because I just focused in on that. And then in 2006, I remember it, I was training and I hurt my wrist. And I've had other injuries, but this one was pretty significant. And I remember I went to the doctors and they were saying, if you're ever going to lift heavy again, you really need to, you either need to do surgery, which insurance wouldn't cover because it wasn't a life-threatening thing, or you need to actually tear it completely, and then we'll do the surgery. And so I didn't like either of those options, so I kind of rehabbed it myself. But I realized at that point that the dream of me being a pro bodybuilder would not be there forever. And at that point I said, let me focus in, and I said to my wife at that time, give me 4 years. If I can accomplish goal in 4 years, then great. If I don't, I'll give it up. I'll give the dream up. Because anybody that does this sport knows there's a sacrifice with your family, a sacrifice with everything when you do this sport. So it's sport. So we did it, and that was 2006, 2010, I turned pro. And and that's really the only difference. I always lifted heavy, I always lifted hard. So I remember this one time, I'm at the Nationals and I got third. And I remember Tracy Greenwood looks at me and goes, it's not that great on this side, Fred, don't worry about it. And I was like, I just could not believe that, I was like, how can it not be great, to be a professional or what you love to do? It just doesn't make sense to me, right? So that was the 2009 Nationals. I got third. So then we go to the 2010 USA, and I didn't win there. I got third again. And at the time, you had to win your class in order to turn pro. So someone else very close to me goes, it's not like the money on this side is that great. You're making more money as a trainer. And it never really, for me, was the money that attracted me. It was always the ability to say, I'm great at what I'm doing. Because I remember there was a time when, early on, when I won the Mr. America through a different organization, I had an opportunity to turn pro in that organization. And a person close to me at that time said, think about what you're doing. Is your dream to be just any pro, or is your dream to one day be able to do Olympia? So it's never, I don't think money can never be the drive behind what you're doing. It has to be the love for it. And I've always, since I was a kid, wanted to be on the same stage Ronnie Coleman was, the same stage Flex Wheeler was, Sean Ray, all those guys. And So the opportunity presented itself 2010. Everything was clicking. I showed up. I looked great. And oddly enough, I trained that last prep with a torn rotator cuff the entire last 4 weeks of the prep. And so, you know, anybody that tells you anything worth having is easy is lying to you, because there's always some sort of mountain you got to climb. But I did that. So that definitely was probably my proudest moment, one of my proudest moments as a bodybuilder, because every doctor I went to said, you need to hang it up, you need to stop. I was living off painkillers and couldn't even lay straight on my back for 4 weeks, yet I still trained through it, still never missed a workout, did all my meals, stayed true to my diet, everything it took to be a pro. And so I knew when I stepped on that stage that it was mine, because I did everything I needed to do, right? And so we got through that, turned pro. I was like, oh man, I'm a pro, and the contract I did have, I lost. Then you're like, oh shit, I'm a pro, so, and no one's saying shit to you. So you realize, man, I gotta start over again. I'm at the bottom, so I gotta start all over again. And that's where you find out what you're made of, because you're thinking, I'm gonna turn pro and it's gonna be great. And see, that person that said it's not that great on this side, it isn't that great if you stop there. But then you keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And you know, I went to my first pro show, ended up beating Johnny Jackson, Tony Freeman. Oh man, I'm doing great. I know the contracts are gonna come down. Still nothing. I'm like, all right, well, so I trained for another one. If I can win Phoenix, I'll qualify for Olympia, because at that time, top 3 qualified for Olympia. So if I do really well in Phoenix, I'll qualify for Olympia. I go out, bomb. I bomb out, but didn't look that great. Got 13th. But you know, you live and learn from each situation, and you get better as you go. So, you know, you come back, and of course, everyone that was supporting you, telling you to keep your head up. Everybody that wanted to see you fail is laughing, and they're excited about it. But you know, you just got to keep doing you and keep pushing, keep pushing. So in 2012, I came back, and still no sponsor, but I figured out a way to fund myself with a certain organization that I was using, and making some money through, and I used that to pay for the shows and everything, so I didn't take money out of my family's mouth to do it. And ended up qualifying for Olympia, took second in Chicago Pro, and that was probably a really great moment for me too, the Chicago Pro in 2012, because everyone had always said Fred can't get shredded, and I was absolutely peeled in that show. I was only weighing 216, and I pushed Essa to the max, and he was weighing 250, and he was peeled too. So that validated my belief that I could be a really good pro, and qualify for Olympia. We go out to Olympia and get destroyed. That was awesome. I got destroyed. I mean, I remember Jay Cutler interviewed me backstage, and I was just basically wanting to say, I really don't want to be here right now, because my body looked absolutely horrible. I don't even think I looked that bad as an amateur. But, you know, for whatever reason, the stress, the anxiety, the weeks and weeks of dieting just all caught up to me, and my body just did not look right. But what ended up happening is, out of that experience, I realized that, you know, everybody on this level has genetics. So what's going to separate the guy who's going to win versus the guy that's going to just be an average pro? And that's the ability to focus, be more disciplined, work harder. Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
What am I saying?
You're on in 5, 4,
3, 2. What am I saying? So this is yours truly, Fred Biggie Smalls. Like the page, subscribe to the page. Let's start making these gains together. Peace.